Hi, everybody. So, Christina already said it, but today I will be talking about how we've been doing DevOps at Banco BPI. So, first of all, who we are. So, my name is Hugo Amorim, as Christina said. I've been working in the last couple of years at the IT division of Banco BPI. And I'm part of the team that has been implementing DevOps at the bank. And for those of you who don't know, Banco BPI is one of the top 5 commercial banks in Portugal. So a bit of the context where we work. So traditional banks are complex organizations with big hierarchical structures that have lots of long-running business processes, some of them supported with heavy document-based procedures, and that rely on top of robust IT systems. These IT systems need to guarantee the information security and reliability, and also need to comply with heavy regulation and strict auditing. So, demanding environment, as you can imagine, we just don't dig holes. Well, some banks do. We don't. So, to support this demanding environment, we have a vast and heterogeneous IT ecosystem. We have more than 80 development teams that are responsible for developing more than 500 application components and thousands of services. These application components and services are spread across multiple platforms that go from the decades-old but reliable and secure Mainframe to the cutting-edge Android and iOS application platforms. And on top of all of these platforms, we have dozens of technologies. Basically, almost every technology, you name it, we have it. And because we have a very competitive market, our business is constantly adapting to new functionalities and new requests from our clients, and also to be compliant with heavy regulation that appears almost every day, and to answer to strict auditing that we are always under pressure. So, how to live with this reality, with this ever-changing IT complexity? So, when we start this journey a few years ago, we had to deal with 2 kinds of issues. Issues regarding diversity and also issues regarding automation or lack of it. On one hand, we had different tools and different ways of doing things. Almost every platform had its own source code management tool. The ways of building and deploying applications were different, and so we had lots of diversity. We turned integration and traceability into challenging and time-consuming tasks. And also, on the other hand, we still had a lot of manual-based tasks. Most of our deployments were performed manually, not always by the teams that know the application, and this limited very much the feedback that we get from our deploy actions. And also, as it was manual tasks, was very error-prone. So life was not easier back at those days. So what did we do on this journey? So we started our journey by merging all the source code management tools into a single source code management platform. So right now, every developer, either if it is a Java developer, ZOS, or any other platform, uses the same tools, the same processes, the same terminology to check in, to manage their source code, okay? So, and with this single platform, we got something very important that is regarding culture on our organization. Everybody speaks the same language. On top of this single source code management platform, we connected the platform to the platform where we manage the requests from our clients, and also to the platform where our teams, our agile teams, manage their work, their sprints, their user stories, and so on. And with this, we extended the traceability from the request to the change that is done on the source code. And also, sorry, I'm messing up with the material. And also, this platform gave us the delivery workflow. So with this workflow, we can control our change goes from development to production without skipping any step and guaranteeing that we have the necessary approval to go into production. We also added, extended the types of change that we could check into our source code platform. So we added the ability to check in our build configurations, which is something similar to what we do nowadays with Maven POM files that are normal things now, but a few years ago, for other technologies rather than Java, we built our own build configurations in order for our build tools to know how to build an application. So our build configurations, here are some examples, tell our build tools how an application is composed, how it should be built, and where the dependencies from this application need to be retrieved, and where the final artifacts should be put. We also added the support for deploy configurations. So these are similar configurations, but these configurations tell our deploy tools where and how these applications need to be deployed, okay? So typically it's an XML file that we call deployment manifest file that identifies all the components and where they should be deployed. We also added support to check in to our source code platform, application and infrastructure configurations. So basically, our teams can check into the platform which data sources, which policies, which queues should be created in the infrastructure before the application needs to be deployed. We are talking about infrastructure related with application, not infrastructure as code. And also, we put our database changes under source controls. So before that, we had a lot of SQL files all over the place that were typically executed manually. And with this kind of change, we added database changes to the source code platform. So looking at our pipeline, our delivery process starts when the developer checks in some changes to the platform, and after that delivers them to a certain environment, typically to development environment. This action triggers our continuous integration mechanism. that is based on Hudson, and that tells our build tools that they have something to do. They have changes they need to build and to create new artifacts. So our continuous integration currently is based on Hudson. We are currently changing it to Jenkins. The builds are started by events on the source code management platform. We don't have manual intervention on Hudson or Jenkins. So jobs are created automatically and the builds are done after code is delivered to a certain environment. So as usually, if a build is broken, so the continuous integration mechanism stops and the developer gets that information on the source code platform. And each environment has its own CI server. Our build tools work based on the configurations that we put on the platform, as we've seen before. And these configurations are based on conventions. So based on the type of the artifact, the build tool knows what source code needs to be built and what type of artifacts it needs to produce and where it should be, they should be put. Okay, and also based on the type of artifact, the tool knows which kind of unit tests it needs to run, which kind of static code analysis it's necessary to perform, and also some security analysis as well. And depending on the type of platform we are talking, the dependency management is also done automatically. So, looking again at our pipeline, we already saw how build is performed after a change on the source code management platform. And when the artifacts are done and tests are done successfully, the developers promote the change to the next environment. And that will trigger the deploy to the final environment. That is done by our the deployment tools, here represented by deployment butler. And these tools know where to get the artifacts from and how to deploy and install them based on those configurations that we saw before. So this is all done automatically with one-click deployment. So developers or the people in charge for installing the applications into production, the only thing they need to do is to promote the changes to the next environment. And the source code platform communicates with our CI servers and the deploy is done automatically. We don't have such manual tasks. So this reduced very much our feedback loop. So now we have, immediately after starting the deploy, we start having the feedback on the platform about what is happening with the installation on each and every environment. So major benefits of this journey regarding database deployments. So before this journey, we had a lot of manual installations with sometimes people mess up the installations with copy-paste problems and encoding problems. And it was easy to not apply all the changes to the database or apply them out of sequence. With database as code, we have no surprises. Changes are applied from development to production always the same way by the tool, and they are always deployed, and we don't have to wait for the database team to install the changes into the quality or production or whatever. We have two interesting cases to talk here about this. We have some teams that every Monday they drop their database and recreated the database again in development in order to guarantee that no one made a change manually on the database and the next day it will not work, or in the next environment it will not work. And also we have the case of another team that, or another teams that usually when they were presented with this solution, they were very reluctant, saying that this will not work, our case is very complicated, we cannot do this with automated scripting. And nowadays they are the first ones when there is some problem with the tool, they are the first ones that came to us to tell that database as code is not working. Regarding one-click deployments, before this transformation, everybody was afraid to go into production because it was hard to know what was actually on production, since installations in productions were usually not done by the people that developed the applications. We had teams that were dedicated to installing applications into production. So for the development teams, deploying into production was kind of deploying to a black box. They didn't know where the applications were and how they are configured into production. Because of this, the feedback of the deployments were very limited, and debugging some problem was a very time-consuming task with lots of conversation with the teams that did the installation. After this transformation, the deployments are always the same from development to production. If something doesn't work in quality, we solve it, and then in the next environment it should work. So everything is done in the same way. We have real-time feedback. As soon as we start deploying, the information about what is happening appears on the source code platform. Every deployment logs are accessible, and people are starting doing deployments more frequently. I have here some use case also. We had a platform where no one wanted to make any change because it was a nightmare. And with this transformation, now the team deploys a full platform from infrastructure within an hour. So regarding feedback and self-support, before, most of the teams rely on our availability to debug problems in production. And deployment logs were often inaccessible or simply didn't exist because they were deployed manually. We had long development cycles because our feedback was too slow and people took too much time to adapt. And also, every time it was necessary to reopen some change, our intervention was necessary. With this transformation, people now have immediate feedback from their actions. So as I said before, all the deployment logs are on the platform, and people can see immediately after submitting something to the next environment what happened. So we have faster feedback and people have more autonomy. Okay. So, are we there yet? Maybe not. We didn't reach our end state, but as Mirko said in the morning, there is no end state. So, we are continuing improving our delivery pipeline. We are currently working on extending the tests, the automated tests capability of the delivery pipeline. We are also working towards continuous delivery. And we also want to, we already, as we've seen before, we already have on the platform all the information regarding the applications, where how the applications are composed and where they should be installed. And we want to extract that information and create an application catalog. And we also want to extend the monitoring capabilities of this delivery pipeline. And that's it. Thank you for your time.
Hi. Thank you for your talk. You said that one of the key things when creating your new process was dropping the databases every morning, every Monday. Did you consider dropping them every day or every night or after every test run? Is there anything stopping you from dropping it every half an hour?
No.
Do you have any benefit of not dropping it?
No, well, it's just one team or set of teams that does that, not all the bank or the organization. They do that once every week, but they could do that more frequently. They don't do it because of time constraints. No, that's it. No. If there was any, there are any benefits doing it more frequently. Maybe, but here the goal is to prevent that someone goes and manually change the database and only notice that on the next environment. So if someone does that, either they notice that when they go to the next environment or in the next Monday. So if next Monday the application doesn't work, that's why someone did something on the database manually and shouldn't.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry. I'm not sure if you said if you automated the development process to production.
Yes.
But what kind of challenges did you encounter? Because banking is obviously a very heavily regulated business area.
Yes, it was a challenging process to get into everything automated, or almost everything automated into production. Regarding the regulation, you have to be very careful with security and segregation of responsibilities and who does what and which applications can do what and which tools can do what. And also you have the added challenge that when you move to the next environment is usually more complex than the last one. So you have added complexity regarding infrastructure and reaching servers on different data center zones. So it's a complex task, but it's doable. We did it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
So I have a question. I was curious about security testing. So you had on your slide that you were doing some security on your CI,
Yes.
CD pipeline. What type of tests are you doing?
We are using a tool, a commercial tool that does some security analysis regarding web applications. That is integrated in our build pipeline. When we start after we build the application, we run that tool. on top of the applications that were built. Just it, nothing very complex.
Okay. Just during development, or when you deploy to a different environment, do you run any other type of
We
tests
do that
for security?
when we build the applications in development, after development. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Thank you.